My name is Kenzie Thorpe, your host, and this is Show Me Ruttin Podcast. On this episode of Show Me Ruttin Podcast, we recap last weekend's activities and sit down with Sam Shaffer of TAP. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Show Me Ruttin Podcast. I'm a little under the weather, so bear with me, but this past weekend was entertaining. There were some things that went down and hunts that were helpful. On Friday night, I took my stick and hang-on stand setup for the first time out to a conservation here in Columbia where I live, and surprisingly, things went a lot better than I had expected. I created a lineman's rope, which if any of you are using sticks and a hang-on, I highly recommend having one. I think it's probably the only way to do it safely. It was a lifesaver. But I got the sticks and I got the stand up pretty easily, and I had a string for the bow that it was tied to, and everything seemed to be going well, and I was adjusting the stand and, well, I knocked my bow off of the hook that I had, and it fell to the ground. I wasn't able to figure out till the next morning or next day that nothing really happened to it. I shot it at 20 and 30 and it was still right on. So that's one more thing about Athens Archery that makes me love them even more, just the durability of the bow. It was probably 15 feet. I wasn't all the way 20. With the sticks I have, I get about 14 to 16 feet. So Friday's hunt was an experience. Glad I did it. Got used to my sticks and my hang on a little better. Didn't see anything, but this hunt I learned more about the sticks and the hang on setup. Saturday morning, I got a little sleep and I headed west to Kansas City, Kansas, where there's a Cabela's, and I signed up for the World Whitetail Championships. Pretty excited about it. There's pretty much two portions of the contest. There's the buck portion, and then there's the social media portion. And when I was there, the guy was talking to me about it, and then we started to sit down to go over the interview, and he asked me if I was comfortable in front of the camera. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable. I'm pretty used to being in front of the camera. So I feel that my audition interview went pretty well. It just was a way for them to get to know the hunter better that is applying. And thanks to Cabela's, the entry fee was free. It's normally $50, but Cabela's paid for all entries that happened that day. So thank you, Cabela's. Saturday evening, I was by myself hunting what we call the East Timber stand. It's more of a bow stand setup only. You're limited to what you can see. It's real thick where that stand is, but it's overlooking a mineral site. So a lot of deer hit that mineral site either on their way to food source or on their way back to bedding. So it's a good stand to almost not guarantee, but if there is a deer, it's going to be within shooting range. I saw a small buck come up. He was pretty hesitant, but he came up. And then a very young yearling, I would imagine a doe or a button buck, showed up. Just too small for me. I want that mature doe or that, 2-3-year-old doe or a mature buck. So nothing there in the stand, but I decided to get down a little early because I wanted to walk out and check the open fields where I had parked, just to do a little scouting, because usually this time of year we sit in stands that you can see a lot of area so that we can scout, kind of see how deer are moving, what time they're moving. And it was helpful. On my way out, I came across a group of does and yearlings, probably 15, 20 deer, as they were heading to the food source, the open fields. And when I got to the truck, there was a couple already out there. So it was useful in knowing, where the deer were, where I saw them, and what I believe they were coming from, so that maybe we could get a better stand location set up. That's pretty much what happened this weekend. Wasn't too exciting. Not any deer on the ground, but again, we'll try and we keep trying. So we'll see what happens. Now we have Sam Shaffer, the owner of TAP, Titanium Archery products. I sat down and did an interview with him, talked to him about a lot of things, and here it is. On this episode of Show Me Ruttin Podcast, we have Sam. He's with TAP. How are you, sir?
Doing quite well. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being with us. We really appreciate this, and we really appreciate you taking the time. For the listeners on here who may not know what TAP is or who Sam is, could you do a little introduction of your company and who you are?
Sure. Well, TAP is Titanium Archery Products. Most people know us just as TAP, I think, because of social media and our logo and such. And, of course, my name's Sam Shaffer, and I'm the owner. I founded it about 2.5 years ago, and I have a history in working with titanium alloy and been an archer, bow hunter for about 26 years. And, with combining those things together, my knowledge of those materials and my passion for hunting, I've been able to come up with some really interesting and effective products.
And when you say you have experience with titanium, what did you do?
My past work was also a business, if you will. I used to do high-performance softball bats involving titanium. So I recognized the ability for titanium to return a lot of energy in an effective way for softball players, and to be able to get higher exit speeds on batted balls. And so I used a different grade than I use now in our current products, but that's what got me into dealing with titanium and seeing the amazing potential that it has.
You know, that's very interesting. I actually run a men's competitive softball league. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was it? A certain company that you worked for?
No, that was something I did on my own.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. That's impressive.
Yeah, there's still some of my bats, I think, out there somewhere. It's been over 10 years now.
Yeah, so with that, you say 10 years ago, but when did TAP start? How long have you been doing that?
TAP was officially formed as an LLC in July of 2016. The concept or the prototype was put together around April of 2016. And at that point, seeing what the response of the people that I had shoot it was, I knew that I had something on my hands that could really become a popular item. So it wasn't started with the intent of having a business. It was my constant, innate desire to find ways to improve and make products better, and realizing that I knew that this material could be used really well. And it just blossomed from there. Just, like I said, I saw the potential, and I thought people will buy this. And one thing led to another. My wife, I'm sure, is probably at times wishes I hadn't ventured into all this, but it's what I do now full time.
Yeah, I can vouch for your product as well. I'm part of the team, and I shoot it both front and back stabilizers, so I definitely vouch for the products. They are great products, and I can honestly say, let it be even, the stabilizer, the bow, whatever. I've definitely shot better this year than I have before. So, I really appreciate it. You
hear that a lot. And I think our products have an actual basis for being better scientifically, but there's also a lot to be said for confidence in your setup. And when you see improvements, whatever they may be, whether the bow is quieter, it's deader, you're getting better accuracy. Usually you get all of those things with our products, but it builds. It's a cyclical thing. You build confidence through seeing success, and then you continue to get better as an archer.
Yeah, definitely. Confidence is key, especially in archery. With TAP, what are some of the products? What are the main products that TAP provides?
Well, we started out with only stabilizers. The Suppressor Elite was our first model. And, then we branched into different things. So we still have Suppressor Elites. They are on the way out, if you will, though. The Element X is our primary stabilizer that we sell the most of now. It's a thinner diameter model. and it's a bit more appealing to people in terms of aesthetics. And it also offers a few advantages over the Elite. And then we have our titanium Tacticam boosters, probably our second most popular product. A lot of people are shooting Tacticams now, and the booster has proven itself time and time again to be very effective with those cameras to reduce vibration and reduce shock.
Yep, I'm one of those people. I shoot Tacticam. I'm on Team Tacticam, and I do have the Tap booster, and I can honestly say it does help. It does limit the vibration, because you're going to have vibration whenever you shoot the bow, no matter what. There's going to be. No matter what. But what you're trying to do is make that quality of that video the best you can. And
absolutely.
The booster does that for sure.
Yeah, and extending it out. This is something a lot of the guys that buy the product, I don't think, maybe take into consideration when they buy it. But extending the radius of your stabilizer out is key, and that's giving you a little bit of that. So they're not realizing, I'm also increasing my accuracy at the same time.
Yep, and also with that, like you're talking about extending out, it also gets the Tacticam closer to the animal. Let it be even an inch or so, but it is, it makes a big difference.
Yep, absolutely.
I know you guys have some accessories. You've got apparel. You got stuff like that, like everyone else.
We got all sorts of things. And, a lot of people will ask, for various items to be added in. And we can do that now with apparel, because everything is done direct from the printer or the manufacturer of that apparel. I don't keep those items in stock. There's just too many things.
Yeah.
Carry, 4 different sizes of youth shirts, women's shirts, different colors. So everything is out there now. We've been adding a lot of things on. And as far as our other archery products go, I should mention everything. Titanium string stops are also really popular. We have the quick disconnects. We have weights, and we have side stabilizer mounts. So it kind of covers the whole spectrum of what you would need to set up a bow for high performance, for stability, for reduction in noise, reduction in vibration. Those are the focus areas of our products.
Correct. And I know, being a part of the team, that you got some new stuff coming out. Is there anything out there that people can look for coming in the future?
Yeah, there's always things that are brewing in my head, and that's a curse. It's a curse and a blessing in a way.
Yeah.
Because it can distract me from the main focus of growing the business. And as I've learned, there are many facets to effectively running a business. It's not just having a good product. It's not just being good at marketing products. There's so many things. Even if you look at the day-to-day operations and financial tracking, there's just a lot. It can be overwhelming. So I can get distracted from developing new products. But I have a couple in mind for next year. One is related to the Tacticam boosters. I think there's potential for a slightly longer version that would contain even more of our vortex material. So I think you can bring down that amount of vibration and shaking that the camera does experience even further. And so I'm actually about ready to you mentioned, of course, you're on our team. I'm about to announce to the team here in a day or two that I have some prototypes that I want them to look at.
Well, that's pretty awesome. And, me talking to you right now, I'd be happy to test it out for you, sir.
That sounds good. I'm going to put some of them out there, and I know I'll probably have a bunch of you guys that want one. I have a limited amount, but we'll figure out a way to do this right.
We will be right back after this short break. Titanium Archery Products, your home for high-performance archery accessories. Why titanium? Great question. 1. Titanium's natural qualities match vibrations produced by the bow. 2. Titanium is capable of extreme flexing under stress without permanent deformation. And 3. Titanium responds so rapidly to your bow's energy, products made of titanium actually help the archer control the bow better. Make sure and head over to titaniumarcheryproducts.com and use the code TAP129 to get 15% off. So, moving on from what TAP actually provides, TAP provides accessory stabilizers for the bow. We use those both for certain things. People on the team I know both do competition and hunt, or do competition and or hunt. So, for me, I do a lot of hunting. I'm a whitetail hunter, but I want to get more into the 3D archery because it's a competition. And, that's what drives people, is competing and just the camaraderie of archery as it is. What puts TAP apart from other companies like that? You can appeal to both, I would say.
Yeah, we do. And products like ours that are on the upper echelon of performance and also the degrees of customization, I think, to appeal to a lot of the higher end, the more driven type mentalities that are into competition. So our company is geared towards giving a guy that is capable of extracting what this product can offer to those guys. See, that's kind of the key to understand is, any good product, any good accessory will make you potentially a better archer. But it also matters that you have the drive, the motivation, the dedication to practice to be able to extract the full potential from products like this. So a guy who's very serious about competition, whether it be flat-face targets or 3D, is capable of really putting in the time to see the benefits that a product like Element X can offer, and to understand the differences in weighting. You understand the differences in angling the stabilizer to really get for example, extreme downhill shots, extreme uphill shots, being able to adjust, take the products, what they offer, and use them to the best of their ability. So I think that's what people see in titanium. To them, a lot of people, just the concept of titanium means top of the line. It means the strongest. Mm-hmm. It means the best. Yep. So that's, I think, what draws a lot of people to us. And then once they see that these products really do have the potential to give more because of the way they respond to energy, the way they respond to resonance, then I think you start to get guys that recognize it's clicking. Like, okay, I'm capable of understanding that this is giving more to my bow. I see it. Now, the typical whitetail bow hunter that's out there may not have the level of experience, may not have the level of expertise in tuning, in bows, in competition to fully embrace that aspect, but it's still giving them those things. Whether they're able to fully explore that and use that is another thing. But I do think for us to bridge the gap between those kinds of guys that are more serious about competition in 3D and get in touch with more of your everyday bow hunter is important to us, because initially the guys that are the high performance types were the ones that were drawn to us primarily. And to succeed as we go on, we need to appeal to everyone. Mm-hmm. So we need to be able to get business from every type of bow hunter that's out there, and have every bow hunter understand there's a good reason why this stabilizer costs this much more than brand X.
Correct. There's
a really good reason. Yeah. And you will benefit as a bow hunter, but that's a challenge. It's a very difficult challenge to get past the mentality that, well, I just slap a $20 stabilizer on there and I'm good to go. That's what I've always done.
Yeah.
That's a really challenging thing. But like I said, the guys that are the high performance mentality, they already understand this and they embrace it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you get what you pay for. The saying, it's always true. You can pay for one name that's $50, another name for $50. You're going to get $50 worth of product. That's just how it is.
It's business. Yeah. Okay. A business is not geared towards not making the best profit that they can off their products. So if you're paying $50, you can be sure it's been calculated out that profit margin is based off of the material costs. Yeah. And you get what you pay.
And the one thing with TAP, that you talked about, high performance, what TAP products does is allows flexibility. You talked about weights, and then with the side stabilizer mount, the way that it's designed, the way you designed it, it allows you to do exactly what you talked about, angle it a certain way, down, up, out, whatever it is that may fit that specific shooter.
Yeah, and that is an area that's kind of foreign to a lot of the bow hunters, even in areas like the West and Midwest where there are opportunities to make longer shots. Still, a lot of those guys are not into side stabilization, and they think that's for target archers. Yeah. Well, that's for competition guys. And there's a lot of that still that I fight against to reverse that mentality. If you take a bow that any modern bow that's out there, I can make it substantially better with side stabilization and accuracy and ability to resist torque. But that's here in PA, that's a tough concept even for a lot of these guys around here. Is there's a lot of like old school mentality. This is what I've done. This is how I always do it. And this is what's worked. And I often tell people, I'm not saying to you that you need this. I'm saying that if you want the best possible performance and accuracy, that's something you should be considering seriously. But you don't need it. A stick and a string can kill a deer.
Exactly.
It's not a need issue.
Yeah. It's, having the best possible setup that's out there. And
that's how I've always been.
Yep.
And just...
So, going more personal, let's talk about Sam. Sam, yeah. I know you're Pennsylvania, right? That's where TAP is. That's where
York County. Yeah, we're not too far from Maryland.
Have you always been there? Is that where you always grew up? Is that where you grew up?
Yeah, I sure did. I was always in this area. I always hunted this area. Last couple of years, I've started adding Maryland in, hunting that as well because there's a lot more liberal bag limits on deer there.
Yeah.
I've always hunted this area, and PA has changed a lot as far as the hunting goes since the antler restrictions went into effect a number of years ago. It's probably about 15 years now. It's been quite a while. But a lot bigger rack bucks are being taken, and there's a lot more opportunities to harvest nice deer.
So, is whitetail your main focus when it comes to hunting?
Yeah, it's always look. Everybody probably has this kind of story in their background. But I was shown hunting by my father. That's what he hunted, and that's what I got into, and that's what my passion really is for. As TAP has grown, though, my opportunities to get into different places have been presented to me. So I do see, next year or two, probably trying to get out west, maybe hunt some elk, mule deer, things like that. But still, whitetail is the passion for me, and I love the meat. My family eats it. It's beneficial and productive for us. So I think sometimes other people have a passion to try to accomplish a certain thing, like, the big five, big game, or something like that. It's not really my area of interest. I just want to be good at what I currently do and then expand a little as I go. I don't measure success the way a lot of guys do. I don't look at racks necessarily. To me, success is being able to enjoy my time in the woods, see deer, get some meat for the freezer. If I take a nice buck, great. If I don't, I'm not that upset. Really not.
Yeah, and I mean, what you just said is almost, exactly what my team is about. I mean, that's what we try to promote is that, that everyday hunter, that guy who goes out maybe only on the weekends, but may not take even a deer for a year. It is maybe what it is. It's not a successful hunt just because you harvest something. You've got to enjoy it while you're out there, and that's what people need to understand.
They do, and social media is.
Oh man,
social media is the reason TAP exists. I'll say that. Social media has driven us along, but I also look down on social media for what it's done to hunting in terms of the perception of success.
Oh yeah, it's trophy.
It's all trophies, and if you ain't shooting a trophy, you're nobody.
Exactly. Okay?
And there's a lot of people busting on people, and I think with youth that distorts what youth see too in hunting.
Yep.
And I have a message that I want to get out there too about when it comes to youth hunters. I just think there's a lot we have to be careful about when it comes to social media and hunting and what we derive from that, like what we take away at the end of the day, what means something to us.
Yep.
It means more to me to not take a shot on a deer, even if it's a trophy, because it wasn't an ethical shot. It means more to me to place an arrow correctly and make a quick, clean kill on a doe than taking a wild shot on a buck that I shouldn't take.
Yep.
And that's something that's important.
People are going to listen to my first episode and then listen to this episode and think that you listened to it before we recorded this. And I don't think
I did.
Because I'm saying the same thing. And that's what's awesome. And that's another reason why I'm a part of TAP is because of you and because of what you pass along to us as team members and how you run your business. And like you talked about, passing on to the youth, it's important to understand that a trophy in someone else's eyes may not be a trophy to this person, but it may be to this person. And each person has their own definition of what a trophy is. And
bottom line, archery deer, period, is a trophy.
Exactly.
It is.
Exactly.
It is.
You harvest something,
Yeah.
You get close enough to shoot an ethical shot like you talked about with a deer. That is a victory in itself. Let it have horns or not.
Sure. And it needs to be firmly implanted in people's minds that that's the truth. And a lot of people still feel that way. Mm-hmm. And, I think youth, it's, if you're going to get youth into hunting, and those numbers are declining now, we know that a lot of youth are not getting into hunting. And I think a lot of that is, there's a number of factors, but, we have to be careful on how we encourage and what we teach and what we want them to see when they go hunting. Mm-hmm. The video game generation, of course, my own kids play video games and things. Yep. That's instant gratification. Yep. That's quickly seeing things happening in front of you, getting kills. Mm-hmm. When you go hunting, you may not see anything. Yep. And that's tough for a kid.
Yeah, it is. And again, like you're saying, though, you're exactly right. You got to teach them. You have to teach them that just because you may not have seen something or you may not have harvested something doesn't mean you're a failure. Right. It doesn't mean that at all. It is the complete opposite.
You go to you pull your smartphone up, right? After the hunt, and you look at your Instagram feed, and it seems like all of a sudden everybody and their brother shot a 12 point.
I know.
And then, how do you feel?
Exactly, and that's like you said. You got to teach them that just because someone else succeeded doesn't mean you're a failure.
Right. And also teach, when it comes to the ethics of the shot, youth, don't let youth extend ranges beyond what they're effective at. Exactly. That's really, that can be crushing to someone to wound a deer and have it get away.
It still crushes me to this day.
We all have experienced these things, and we all look back and say, "Oh, if I could have known better." Yeah. Well, if you're teaching a young person, they can know better.
Exactly.
You can help them.
Exactly. We will be right back after this short break. Built to Hunt is your one-stop shop for all things hunting and fitness. Your top resource for outdoor supplements, backcountry meals, fitness accessories, training plans, nutritional content, and more. Compare all the best outdoor brands side by side and let Built to Hunt help you bridge the gap from athlete to hunter. One of my buddies, Mike Atterbury, is one of the two owners of Built to Hunt, and if you know him, you know they are only going to have the best. Head on over to built2hunt.com, BUILT2HUNT.com, and check out what they got, and use code BMO10 and get an additional 10% off your first order. Well, finishing up here, we could talk all day about, tab hunting and all that stuff. I want to
get me started.
I want to say first off, thank you again for taking the time. Something that I didn't bring up that I'd like to is that I know that TAP co-opted with Athens Archery. And the reason this is important to me is because I am an Athens factory shooter too. So I thought it was cool because I shot TAP and I shot Athens before this happened. And then it happened, and I thought that was pretty awesome because I promote both products. Now they're, in essence, a co-op, and you have now a specialty bow. If you could, go into a little bit about that specialty bow and what it may offer as a base model.
Right. So Athens was really kind of a natural fit, I guess you could say, because like you, a lot of guys that shot our products were already shooting Athens. Mm-hmm. Several of my friends had Athens bows. So I personally hadn't shot Athens in the past. And so we developed the co-op first, and then we reached out to them with an idea, and it was, hey, I think we can both help each other a good bit here. If you guys are interested in doing a TAP edition bow, I think we can sell some of these bows to our team members. I think people even in the general public would be interested in these bows. Mm-hmm. So here's one. This is the Altitude, and you can see on the handle here, it's got the TAP logo lasered in. I really like this bow. So I have a Revelation 7 and an Altitude. And this is my hunting bow, the Altitude. And I found working with them has been a great thing for us in terms of credibility. I think people are bound to see when you are attached to an established brand, whether it's an arrow company that's well known, or in this case, a bow company, that's bound to help you. There's no other way to see it. Mm-hmm. So it has helped our credibility, I think, as a company. And with what's been occurring with Athens, of course, with the transition that they've been going through, I'm really keen on seeing how we can continue to develop with them. Mm-hmm. I do hope to be able to continue to produce these tap edition bows. So, they can do that logo on any of their bows currently for us. I don't know down the line. I have some big plans. I'd like to see us get closer to them because I'd love to be able to do from a ground up perspective, a bow that I would like to have a hand in as far as the riser design and a number of things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's exciting. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, everybody, would like to have an opportunity to build their own bow, but the problem is that a lot of people don't understand the concept behind it and what it needs, where I think you do because you have that background in titanium. And
they
been
don't.
With it.
They don't. People, and it's no fault really of anyone. To understand what manufacturing any product requires it almost takes you having attempted it. Mm-hmm. Or currently be doing it to understand the true expense behind it. You can't just whip up a bow.
Exactly.
You're not going to design a bow unless you're planning to produce that bow in volume because of the design expenses involved, because of the 3D modeling that's involved. There's just so much that it's exorbitant. And even to do stabilizers, that I do, the amount of material that I have to purchase ahead of time, volume, it's overwhelming at times.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel okay going a little bit off of tap and going towards Athens because we are, in essence, teamed up. And, what about Athens? I know you shot the bows when you were testing them with the tap editions. What about Athens do you like that, separates them like tap separates from everybody else?
Well, I think what I've seen, there's a couple things about Athens that stand out to me. And one is not related to the bows at all. And that is the connection that they have with people. They're a lot like us in that they seem to have a very loyal family feeling about them. Yep. And they are very much in touch with their shooters.
Correct.
So I think that's something that means a lot. The fact that people can get a hold of me so easily and I can interact with them means a lot to them. And I believe the same applies there. Yeah. So that's one thing. The bows themselves are, I think, Athens is known because we shoot them. Yep. But in the outside of people that shoot Athens, I feel like Athens is still one of those best kept secrets. In archery. It's unfortunate because the bow is so well designed in terms of how dead in hand it is and how quiet it naturally is. Now, this bow in particular, I think, comes in at a 4.5 pound base weight. Yep. That's a little heavier than maybe some people are used to, maybe by 0.2 of a pound or 0.3 of a pound. But there's a really good reason I see in that, and people don't understand at times. And I try to relate this to them through our stabilizers: is that weight is not a bad thing, and it contributes mightily to accuracy and quiet. So they get that, and they've designed this bow in a way that is really just naturally dead in the hand. It sits nice, especially once you add our stabilizers in the right places. Yeah. I'm amazed at the accuracy that I get with a 5 7/8 inch brace height. Yep. It's a 5 7/8 brace. Now it's a 33 axle, but this thing drives tacks. Yeah. It's amazing.
I'm the same way. I shot Matthews before, so it's not like I was shooting some other brand. I shot Matthews for 4 years, and then I went to Athens, and when I shot that bow, it just was so smooth. It just
extremely smooth.
It just shot well.
You can't underestimate the importance of that. Now, you mentioned Matthews. A lot of people shoot Matthews. They love Matthews. Yeah. And Matthews makes phenomenal bows. But one thing I want to see more of in people is less allegiance to a particular brand and more openness to considering brands like this. Yep. And I think you're better informed if you consider other options. Just because you haven't personally touched an Athens and you don't know anybody maybe that shoots an Athens does not negate them as a good choice. Yeah. So that's something I hope to see with this new acquisition that they have, is that the brand gets distributed a bit more. and that people get more familiar with it.
Yeah, it would be nice to get more distributors of Athens. I think that would help because getting it in your hand and shooting it before you buy it is most people's have to do. And I think that has to do a lot with it, is because even the people on the team that I talk to and you listen to, they say the same thing. He's like, I'd like to go shoot this bow before I buy it. I've got a Rev 7, but I want to shoot a Summit, but I can't. I have to buy it and then shoot it, and then what happens? So
that definitely held back, even amongst our team members, their willingness to try the tap edition. Correct. Because I need a dealer I need to go to a dealer, and the closest dealer is 150 miles away.
No,
it's like I can't do that.
Exactly, and I think that's going to help them if they can look into there and expand the dealers. Shorten the distance half, make it half as distance to most people. I think that will help.
Oh, no doubt it will.
Talking about dealers, I know Tap, you're mainly online. Do you sell through dealers?
We have a couple. It's not been an area of focus. Yeah. And, here's my general take on retailers is that they present a big challenge for us in that they focus primarily on bows. Let's just focus on what they make the bulk of their sales on is on bows. So if a guy comes in looking for a new bow, he may or may not walk out with the stabilizer or some other accessories. Right. But that is not the focus area of that shop owner. So for them to sell our product requires some actual effort, I would say, to sell and educate about what tap is. Yeah. And if a guy walks in and says, "Well, I know bee stinger," okay, I'll take that, but doesn't know tap, well, then it requires shop owner time to explain the benefits of this stabilizer that may cost $10, $15 or whatever it is more to that guy. Yeah. So shop owners have reached out, but they haven't seen, I think, the benefit, because if I offer them the same profit margin that another well-known brand offers, it's an easy choice for them to say, well, I'm just going to go with the well-known brand because I get the same profit margin here. Yeah. And so I have not made efforts to reach out. I let them come to me. There are some. And I often tell the team members, if you want to go to your local shops, go, feel free. But don't be disappointed if they're not that interested, because they probably won't be. Yeah. And I've already proved it. Hey, online sale, whether you like it or not, Amazon, all these other places, they are taking over. Oh. And if you have a brick and mortar store, you're in a tough spot because you are facing competition. And unfortunately, from people like me, I'm not trying to take anybody down. It's just, this is how I was able to do business. Yep. And I've proven that direct sale can make a substantial amount of volume move.
Well, so, that's good to hear. You know what you're doing and you know where to focus. And I think a lot of people will appreciate that you focus more on the product itself than trying to make sales.
Yeah. And, if you're worried about getting into as many locations as possible, if you're worried about trying to move as many units as possible, you're not going to be focused on development. And that's one thing I want to leave this talk with, is that I often hashtag never stop improving on posts that I make, because I firmly believe in that concept. Mm-hmm. I don't think any product that I make is as good as it possibly can be. And I'm never resting on that. I'm never waking up thinking, got it made, got it figured out, we're good to go for the foreseeable future. Yeah. No, I'm never satisfied with products.
And I think that mentality, stems probably from archery as well as hunting, because that's part of it, like we talked about, that competitive drive. There's never a perfect archer. There's no such thing as a perfect archer.
No, and you can have a great day where you feel like you basically shot perfect, and the next day you may not be close.
No, I've totally been there, and I know exactly what you're saying.
It's frustrating, but it's the nature of the game.
It is, and that's why we love it so much, I believe. So I want to say thank you again for taking the time, sir. Go ahead and let people know, how can they find Tap? How can they talk to you? What are you on?
Sure. Yeah, most of our focus is Instagram and Facebook. We do a lot through there. So Instagram.com/titanium, then _archery_products. Facebook.com/titanium archery products, all one word. And then, of course, our website, titaniumarcheryproducts.com.
And again, if they have a question, they can find you on those as well and ask you anything.
They could also email me if they want, Sam@titaniumarcheryproducts.com.
I appreciate it again, sir, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much, sir. Had a good time.
Another great interview. Make sure and let us know if there's any topics that you'd like us to discuss. Anybody you'd like to see us get on here. We'll do our best to see what we can do. This podcast was brought to you by Big Muddie Outdoors. Make sure and like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next week.